What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony. Today's Friday. Friday. Lame, I know, but made it. Another week. Today I'm wearing my Rolex Datejust 16234 blue dial. I love this watch. I've been wearing it a lot. It doesn't have a whole lot of flex in the strap for as old as it is, the bracelet, but I'm almost thinking about getting it completely redone, but I don't know. Thinking about it. Anyway, you know what day it is. It's Friday, which means it's the Q&A. And so for those of you who have not watched my Q&A or are a new subscriber that doesn't know what Friday is when I answer all of your questions, watch related or not. So if you want your question featured, then all you got to do is ask your question in the comments below, and I'll feature it on one of my Q&As. Today I've got a lot of questions, man, so I'm going to do this in two parts. I don't think I can get through all of them. Plus I have one really, really good question that I freaking love. You guys might not like it so much, but I certainly do. So I'm not going to roll the intro, and we'll do the second part of the Q&A tomorrow. Normally tomorrow I would do a different video, but I've got just so many questions here. But for next week, if you want your question answered, just leave it in the link in the comment section below. Question in the comment section below. I'm fried, man. It's crazy. And I've been freaking sneezing all freaking day as well. So having said that, again, I'm not rolling the intro. But anyway, happy Friday, everyone. The first question comes from at 305_R, S as in Sam 3. This was a late question. I wasn't going to feature it today, but with the information that's out there and somewhat listening to the rumors, what's your personal opinion on what will happen with the /to the GMT lineup? Been hearing discontinue of Pepsi and Sprite and the Coke coming out. Okay, so you want to know what's going to happen with the GMT line. You know, you think everyone's taught. I've talked about this before, and people say, "Oh, the Pepsi is just they're having so many problems with the bezel." How the hell do you know? I'm not talking about you people that are watching me, but these channels, man. What the hell? You know, I've got some inside information that tells me they're going to discontinue it. No, you don't. No, you do not. Nobody has any inside information. Here's the thing, man. Look, no disrespect to my AD, but one of the reps at my AD said that they were going to be discontinued. Well, the owner 10 minutes later told me they're not going to discontinue it. Nobody knows. All right? So any of these channels that sit there and try to tell you that this is how it's going to be, I've got inside information. No, you don't. All right? Anything that happens is a guess, and if you're right, you're lucky. And then what you'll do is you'll shove that down everyone's throat. See, I told you so. I did hear that Rolex have the patent back on the ceramic, which would be the Coke, which is the red and black. So if they're going to do that, then why would they discontinue the Pepsi if they're having so many problems with the red on the GMT? Another thing is, don't they make really good knockoffs and replicas of these watches? I would imagine they make a GMT Pepsi complete knockoff with the ceramic bezel. So if the Chinese can do it in their shitty little sweatshop factory, then I'm pretty sure Rolex could pull it off. I don't think they're going to discontinue the Pepsi, and if they do, it's not for reasons of the fact that they can't make the bezel. So is the Coke going to come out? Who knows, man? Who knows what Rolex is going to do? Nobody knows. All right, man. But thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. Next question. This is my favorite question, man, because I really wanted to put something into some thought into my response. Tony, this is from Cardinal Percussion Wholesale. And then one, I didn't get the whole thing, but Tony, keep up the great work. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. A fun one for you from a drummer / watch lover. Anyone who beats up shit for their life, smacks stuff around for a living or whatever you do, has got something going on up here. Let's see. The guitar gods have asked you to pick out the perfect watch for the legends that have passed away. Be specific with brand, model. What would you pick that would be perfect for these greats? Jimi Hendrix, Les Paul, Randy Rhoads, the GOAT if it wasn't for Eddie, but Eddie Van Halen, Jeff Beck, and Stevie Ray Vaughan. All right. This is amazing because you've got Hendrix, who I love, died in 1970. Got Les Paul, who basically kind of almost invented the electric guitar, but he did invent the Les Paul. You got Randy Rhoads, who is like amazing guitar player, my hero, my idol when I was younger, and I've got so many connections, direct connections to Randy. In fact, Randy used to teach at a school called Musonia School of Music when he was in Quiet Riot, and I, years ago, used to study at Musonia, so I know Randy's mom. Later on in life, already as an established guitar player, I became friends with this, and this is still going back, way back to the very 1990 or 91, I became friends with Laurie Holland, who was formerly the Quiet Riot fan club president. And so I just have a lot of connections with Randy Rhoads, and plus, of course, just not only a stellar guitar player. So to do it a little bit different, I wrote this down because I didn't want to just come off the top of my head. I was just like, I thought, okay, so let me start with Randy Rhoads. And what I thought I would do is I would do 2 watches. One from back when they were alive, and if they were alive today, what would they wear, right? So with Randy, you go with, okay, so he was born in 19... The brain. It's the brain. Randy Rhoads, he was born in 1956. He died March 19th, 1982 in a plane crash. I believe he would have gone on to just be one of the greatest of all times. The thing is that even though he's widely recognized as one of the greats, he doesn't have a big enough catalog. He really only has 2 albums with Quiet Riot, Quiet Riot 1, Quiet Riot 2, which sucked, apart from one song called Killer Girls, which was cool. And then 2 albums with Ozzy. We got Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. And then that was it. He was killed 3 months after Diary of Madman came out, I think in November or December of 81, and he was killed March 19th, 1982. So, and he was 25 years old, so he was just a baby. So what would he wear? I'm thinking for the 1980s, he would have worn an Omega Constellation Manhattan from 1982. I believe that he would have had that, like once he started getting a little bit of money, he would have just sort of bought just something like that for the little bit of flash, If he were alive today, I believe that he would remember his time with Ozzy back in 82 and remember his first watch, and he would have bought another Omega Constellation 36 millimeter with steel and gold and stay humble, you know what I mean? Because he drove a Volkswagen Scirocco, and he lived 2 or 2.5 miles down the street from me on Amherst Drive. I'm not going to give you the exact address, and his Scirocco had been sitting in his driveway up until just a few years ago, just kind of rotted and whatever, but still, that's what I think Randy would have worn. Les Paul, born in 1915, died in 2008. He was a great guitar player, just not my sort of style. I didn't really get into him, and he had a band with his wife in 1961. Either way, so what he would have worn back then would be a Patek Philippe reference 448A in yellow gold. Just a classy watch. I believe he would have just sort of rocked that watch and understated, but a great watch. I think today, if he were alive, he would have bought a Rolex Day Date 18238 with a champagne dial. And I think he would have bought that probably in the 1980s, and he would have just kept that all the way through, because I don't think he was just a true watch guy. I think he would have just had it to say, hey, look, man, I got a Rolex now. And plus his other watch would have been a Patek. So that's what I think. We got Jimi frickin' Hendrix, man. Okay, Jimi Hendrix, born in 1942, died in 1970. Was really discovered and brought to London, England. So he was discovered out here, but he didn't make it out here. He made it in England first. So he spent the majority of his time in London, and that's where he really lived. And of course he toured, but it was England. There was a lot of influence on him with British, and the Rolling Stones, whatever you want to call it. Jimi was a pioneer and just amazing. I mean, you can't say anything bad about, well, you could, but I wouldn't. Jimi, I think I think in 1967, when he first gets to London, and he was, flamboyant, you know what I mean? He was pretty wild looking, especially for that time. And I think he would have had a 1967 Cartier crash. Hold on a second. Paco, get down from there. Get down from there. He knows he's not supposed to be up there, but he knows I'm doing a video. Get down. Get down. There you go. I believe he would have had a Cartier crash. I think that's what he would have had, man. It just would have been totally his vibe, I think, for that scene. Today, if he was alive, I believe he would have a Nautilus 5711R with a brown dial. I don't know why, but that's what I think he would have. I'm sticking to it. Stevie Ray Vaughan, dude. I mean, shit. I remember when he died, I was on the freeway driving, and at that time we didn't know if Eric Clapton was on the helicopter or what, but Stevie Ray Vaughan died in 1990, I think, or it might have been 91, but 1990, I think. He just played the whatever festival it was, and again, I can't remember, and his helicopter took off and it crashed into the hillside. The conditions were foggy, and the pilot couldn't see. It was pilot error is what it was. It was a real drag. He was one of my favorite guitar players, man, and I took a lot of licks from him. I mean, as far as what I incorporated into my style of playing, along with the styles of like Randy, Eddie Van Halen, and like guys like Steve Vai and whatever. So it was a real like mind-blowing thing. A lot of people don't know he was also the guitar player on David Bowie's Let's Dance album, and David Bowie had offered him the gig as his guitar player, and Stevie Ray turned it down, said nope, and he continued to do his thing, and look what it did. So I think Stevie Ray would have bought I think he would have had one of two at the beginning. I think he would have had the Corum 35 millimeter $20 coin, something like that. So I would say it's that or the Patek Philippe Golden Ellipse, but because I don't think, obviously he didn't have a whole lot of money when he started out, but I think he, just wanted the best of everything. So I think that's what he would have had back then. Today, I think he would have rocked I don't know, I just think he would have gotten a Vacheron Constantin 222. That would have been sick, man, seeing him wear that watch. All right, so let's move on to Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck, another huge influence on me as a player, man. Jeff played guitar like nobody else. He didn't use a pick, he used his fingers, and the way that he could take a note and stretch it out, he could make that guitar talk just like a woman, in a sense that you didn't have to say too much to get a whole lot through. You know what I mean? And the way that he used the bar, right, which is actually something that I used to do, of course I'm not comparing myself to him, is you could take the bar and not just use it as a whammy bar or dive bombs like Eddie Van Halen, but you could take it and sort of just work those notes just to get, so you have, with a bar you can go down and you can pull up, all right? But in between whole steps and half steps, which is one note to the next, there's sort of semitones that you can get, and you can get this it almost sounds like he's playing slide guitar, but he's not playing slide, if that makes sense. Jeff Beck, I think he didn't give a shit about watches, but I'd say he probably back in the day when he started in the 60s, he was also in the Yardbirds, I believe, and Jimmy Page replaced him, but I think he would have worn a Bulova. Just a Bulova, nothing fancy. Then, I think today, if he were alive, keep in mind, he was a total car nut. He built hot rods and things like that. Man, I think watches were the last thing on his mind, but I would believe that he would possibly have a Luminox now if he were still alive. Just something that he could beat around and not give a shit about. Or the Casio, you know what I mean? A Casio, but that's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's go to Van Halen, man. Eddie Van Halen, I don't believe he even had a watch in the beginning. He didn't even know what time it was, and he didn't care, man. That dude was so out of it and so wild. So I think that later in life, he probably got some cool watches just because his wife, said, "Hey, you need to get a nice watch. What should you get? Maybe a 5270p Grand Complication from Patek Philippe, something like that. That is just like, yeah, I got the best of the best. Don't have to wear it, don't care. Valerie Bertinelli is probably the one who's got him into wearing some watches when that needed to happen. So I think that would be my take on the guitar player watches. Dude, that was the best freaking question. I love it. Thanks for asking it. Cardinal Percussion Wholesale something. All right, thanks, dude. Let's see if we can get another one in here. User hyphen JY5XY, just a generic. Hi, Tony. Very nice watch. Doubting between the Tudor Black Bay 54 or Rolex OP. What would you recommend? Doubting? Okay, so you probably had a typo there. Debating, probably. The 54 or the Rolex OP? I would go with the Rolex OP, hands down. I think it's a better watch. I think it's going to be, I think it's a watch. The OP's like it fits the best. It's the most comfortable watch I have. My OP 36. And if you're talking about the Black Bay 54, then I'm assuming you're talking about the 36 millimeter OP. I'd go with the OP. Black Bay 54 is cool, man, but I'm telling you. David Parrish Productions. Hey Dave, what's up, dude? How's it going, man? Hey, thanks for putting my question on. Yes, you're absolutely welcome. Hope you gave a relaxing Saturday. I did have a relaxing Saturday. Next, how would you describe how you feel when wearing a Rolex versus how you feel when you wear a Cartier versus how you feel when you wear a Swatch? Does the watch put you in a certain mood? Thanks, Tony. Thanks for your question. No, not at all. I mean, I'll wear whatever watch I want to watch, which watch I want to wear, and it's pretty simple. It doesn't change my mood. If I'm in the mood to wear it, then that's fine. I don't ever really put on a watch and go, that's completed my day. Let's go. You know what I mean? I don't do it like that, man. I just put the watch on and I wear it. You know, sometimes I get a little, I say mood. Sometimes I don't want to wear the watch. If I'm out, I'm like, I want to get this thing off my wrist. So, it's all good. Thanks for the question, Dave. King Reese, what's up, brother? T, finally got another question for you. King Reese, you're awesome, dude. I'm sorry, you don't comment that much anymore. You used to all the time, but I just appreciate you're still watching. And dude, I got to get back out to Hawaii, man. I know I do. I just got to. So this question is, let's see. Finally got another question for you, but maybe some others would want to know about too. Where's the sub that we both fell in love with? I wear mine every day, and just wondering if you're wearing yours on the sidelines every now and then. Still here and watching you, my man. Thanks for all the creative content. Aloha. Dude, I'm so glad you love your sub. The sub is such a great watch, and no, I don't wear mine, and it's all good. I have another question for tomorrow. It's about 41 millimeters. It's like, dude, ever since I got the GMT, the GMT wears so much better on me than the Submariner. It fits better. And when a watch doesn't really start, I don't get me wrong. The sub is an icon. So don't, I want to probably try to get a 40 millimeter, an older one. For the previous references, it would be a 11204. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the reference number. That's why it was a long day. Anyway, 126040, 116040. Is that it? Crazy. All right. Anyway, yeah. So that's all the questions I think for today. I'm gonna do another Q&A tomorrow. Dude, I love everybody who loves, likes, subscribes, all that good stuff. We'll see you tomorrow, and I appreciate it.